Welcome to my messy desk. I have lost my job. So let's make some art. First of all, you're just going to have to excuse the sniffing and all that because it's allergy seasons in Tennessee. So I've got complete book on here because I want to end up completing this whole book. So let's flip through it and see what I've got so far. I got a turtle. Did that back in the pandemic. And then we got this little monster guy. And I started playing around with putting these stencils in the background. I got this fairy princess dancing. Not that I can turn the page. I got a squirrel flying a kite. I got some ants marching. Hello, Willow. Willow has joined the party. I can't turn the page if you're standing on the book. Have you ever thought of that, Willow? Come here, baby. And we got a monkey with a banana. We got a Frankenstein monster and some buds. Some fairies. An octopus mama. I've done quite a bit in here. I was kind of shocked when I flipped through this the other day. I was like, what? I just kept finding pages that I'd done. Here's a rubber ducky. I don't know if I want to put a background on him or not. Because I just kind of like the way he looks. And we got an octopus. And then giraffes. Now the next one's interesting because with this one I took a marker and went over all the black. And it bled through to this side. So on this side I had to take acrylic paint and paint over it. And I had taken like white out, and had whited out all the black, and then painted over it, and it kind of bled through a little bit, but I mean, hey, it's better than nothing. Started on this guy. This is what we'll probably be working on, because I was working on him last night. But let's see what else is in here. We got some kind of lizard. I don't think I have anything else here. My little monk dude. My little dude with his mushrooms. I got a lamb that I need to put background on. Because I just did the lamb yesterday. I did this one the other day. Instead of doing the background, instead of coloring the background, I just did the stencil background. And then this one. Yay! What do you think, Willow? Did I do a good job? So let me find my page that I was working on. So yeah, I lost my job last Thursday. And I'm just really upset about it, even though I did not like that job. So I ended up at this company because my company was bought by them. And basically what happened was my company was sold to another company. And then that company merged with this current company that I was with. And that's just the way it happens. So I went from a very small company to a very big corporation. And I was kind of lost in the shuffle. I mean, it's fine. I was making my way as best I could. And then they took my system and they integrated it into another system. And I wasn't very happy about that because they integrated it into a system that I worked in the 90s. It was like where I began my programming career. So I was really not excited about going backwards. And then They had another system that was similar to the system that I worked in, and so they moved me to that system. And it was okay. I didn't get any training or anything, so I mean it was kind of hard. I was just really trying to figure things out as I went along, and all this stuff. Um, and then last Sunday I did a release, or the Sunday before I was fired, I did a release into the system, and I did it wrong. I missed a step, or I put the number in on the wrong text box. But whatever I did, it messed up the system. Well, on Monday there was complaints, and I was like, uh-oh, something went wrong. But we thought it was something else. We thought something else got caught up in the release. And then on Tuesday, after we found out that there was something else that was going on, as well as to that first thing that was still going on from Monday that we thought got fixed, me and another coworker went and we looked in the release files, and we realized that this is really messed up, and we need to fix it. So we had went to one of the more senior developers and told him, hey, this is a bigger issue than we thought. But he got all caught up in thinking it was just this one issue. And he just kept going round and round. He called our vendor, and he's like, well, now if it's just this one issue, we can do blah, 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 blah. And he just kept doing that. And I stopped him in mid-call and said, no, it's more than that. It's everything. Well, number one, apparently that was the wrong thing to do, because then the operations went to the powers that be, and they were like, oh, it's everything, and blah, blah, which it's true. I mean, it was the truth. Well, apparently that got me in trouble, which that flew all over me anyways. If I can't tell the truth in my own company, and I'm supposed to just hide things from another department to make us look better, I don't know that that's good for me. And I mean, I voiced that to like my most beloved coworker, and he agreed. I was like, that's just not a good way to be. If stuff is going on, we need to pull together as a team. I was like, I understand, kind of making a fluff piece to our clients or whatever, and maybe not telling them the full story, but our own people. So my boss got mad at me about that. He was like, your other coworker talked to the vendor, and maybe he knows more, and which he doesn't. I mean, I know that. And then we got into another meeting, and he did the same thing. So then I just texted my boss, and I said, since I'm not allowed to say anything in the meeting, I'll just tell you. And I just told him, this is what's happening. This is what he's focusing on. This is the problem if we only fix that. We don't know what we don't know. So then my boss says in the meeting, we don't know what we don't know. And I felt good about that. I thought, okay, he's being heard. I'm being heard. Where, this will work. I can do it this way. I can just go to my boss directly and then let him, say the words, because I know that I'm very blunt. I don't like to sugarcoat things. I don't like you to sugarcoat things with me. I want you to be blunt. So I don't want to beat around the bush. If something's wrong or whatever, I want to know what's wrong. So anyways, we decided finally that we're going to do a full system restore, which I'm all down with. And they decided, what was going to happen. And we're a hosted system, so our vendor has to do it all. And my boss is from the Ukraine, so he has a very thick accent, and I have a very hard time understanding him. And he was talking about, coming in at 3 o'clock and all this at 3 a.m., but I didn't think he wanted me to. For one thing, he had left me out of everything else, because I had messed up the system to begin with. So I thought, well, that's my punishment. He doesn't want me touching anything and blah, blah, blah. And they were meeting at 3 a.m. to load in files, and I didn't know how to load in files. That wasn't one of the things that I had trained myself on yet. And so me and my beloved coworker were talking, after the meeting, and we were like so glad that we didn't have to come in at 3 o'clock and blah blah blah. He and I were under the same thing. However, he worked late with one of the senior developers, and he asked the senior developer, "Do you want me to come in at 3?" And the senior developer said, "Nah, there's no need." So he didn't. Now, had he came in, none of this would have happened, because he would have immediately called me and my butt would have been there. But he wasn't there and I wasn't there. So at 3:30 in the morning, I get a Teams message saying, "Are you on?" And of course I wasn't. And I wasn't allowed to have Teams on my phone anymore like I had in my old job, because, I was just a nobody. So I couldn't have my email on my phone, and I couldn't have my Teams on my phone because of security issues. And he didn't ask for my phone number, so he didn't have any way to get a hold of me. So the next morning I apologized and told him I misunderstood, that I didn't think he wanted me there, and this is the thing that I think got me fired. Is I said, "I don't know how much help I would have been anyways. I don't know how to load files." And I think that pissed him off. And that this was on Wednesday, and I told him, as I didn't know how to load files. And so we went to our morning meeting, and the operations were, everything was great, and everything went well. And he said, "Well, thank blah 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 and blah blah blah. Everybody but me." He named everybody's name but me. And even after the meeting, I said something to my beloved coworker about it, and was like, "Yeah, I mean, he might as well just said, yeah, thank everybody but Tracy." So I knew he was upset with me, but I didn't think that he was upset with me to the point that he would fire me. But then on Thursday, I was having a meeting with my beloved coworker, and we were actually setting up a meeting for the afternoon for me to help him work on some stuff. And I was going to show him what I had learned from the system so far. And I got a call from my boss and HR, and I knew then that's not good. And I kind of just thought I was getting written up, I've never been written up before. I've never been in trouble at work before. Nothing. And he just said, we no longer need your services, effective immediately. He said me not coming in at 3 a.m. was not acceptable. I just said thank you, and that was that. And I couldn't believe it. Could not believe it that my distinguished career had been snuffed out like that. Now, I was unhappy there. I was extremely unhappy. They're not having any kind of training, and then the hostility of ops and stuff. And when I had a meeting with him on Wednesday, when he asked me why I wasn't there, and we talked, and I said it was a hostile work environment. And he said, "Do you think it's a hostile work environment?" And I said, "Yeah, I do. Don't you?" I mean, when you got my very first meeting with the ops team, was her saying, "I don't think we need your system. I don't think it's needed." So basically, I mean, that's pretty hostile in my book, when you got somebody saying you're not needed. So I'm just struggling really bad this morning. A lot of it is just that I had a long, distinguished career where I had well accolades and was well respected, to going to, "Oh well, you're being let go because you didn't understand me." And what's so bad is I heard from my beloved coworker, like the next day they had a meeting, and somebody had brought up that it was a misunderstanding, or a miscommunication is what they said, and he flew all over the handle, or flew off the handle apparently. He was like, "It was not a miscommunication. Everybody showed up but her." So, and then this is what makes it even worse, is that I had a major heart attack in January that I'm still trying to recover from. So, and now I don't have any insurance. So, I am a woman of faith, and I'm really trying not to worry. I know God's got something better for me. I had been praying that He would deliver me from that company because I was so miserable, and it was just such a bad fit. As a Christian, to ask me to lie about something, no, thank you. I just can't. Especially because I had a very bad time in my life. And that's the last thing I want to do is to bring myself back into bondage when I've broken free. So I had been praying that God would deliver me from this company, and He has. And so I'm thankful for that, and I'm excited about, what He has next for me. Honestly, I'd just like to be a housewife. I'd like to just come here and do art and hang out with you guys, but I'll go where God has me. That's the thing. I want that most of all. I want to go where God has me, or God wants me. And we sure do have a lot of bills to pay, so I know He's got something good lined up for me. And I actually had something happen the day of. Let's do this template. Do you think we should do that? Do leaves. I think I like the leaves. We'll do leaves. What color should we do? What color should we do? Should we just go with a green? That is the purple. Maybe yellow. Look at my color chart. Yeah, yellow would be good. Let's go with yellow. So, after I got fired a little bit after 11, and I was on the phone with my mother-in-law, who is my chosen mother. Probably about 11:15. And I was beside myself, of course. And I was crying. And she said, let's pray. So she starts praying over me. And she says something about me getting a job by the end of the day. And I scoffed in myself. I laughed. And I immediately heard, if you're a person of faith, you know what I mean when I say that. I immediately heard, you have no faith. And I said, oh Lord, I am so sorry. I do have faith. I am so sorry. You're absolutely right. If you wanted me to have a job because I didn't have a resume. I haven't had a resume since, 2009, so I was like, I don't have a resume. I just all the practical things that as humans go through your mind. And I just said, oh Lord, I'm sorry. I know that if you wanted me to have a job by the end of the day, you can absolutely make that happen. You can make it possible. And then I didn't think anything else above it, I went about my day. I had several people reach out with leads and encouraging words, and it's kind of subtle, but it'll work. Maybe I might come over with some green over it. I'm thankful for all those people reaching out with job leads, and and then later that afternoon, an acquaintance, someone I never really talked too much outside of like work things, stuff like that. We're friends on Facebook, and she reached out via Facebook and said, you're kidding, right? That really didn't happen. And I'm like, no, they fired me. And she got really upset. She's like, I can't believe they fired you after you just had a heart attack. And I was like, You know, they don't care. And she's like, I'm going to make a phone call. And then so she made a phone call. Then she called me back and she started talking about this company that she's got a contact with, and she's like, get your resume together and contact them, and you know, it's in a remote position, which is perfect for me. I worked remote for years. She's like, the only thing is they have to go to Chicago yearly for a conference, which even that is perfect because we have family in Chicago, so that would actually work out because then Jeremy could travel with me and we could visit family. And you know, everything just started sounding so good about it, you know, and I started feeling good about it. And then immediately I heard it's not the end of the day. It's not the end of the work day, much less the end of the day. And I had to really just stop myself and just said, oh Lord, you're right. You're absolutely right. You're so right. I scoffed when you said end of the day, and now it's been 5 hours and you've given me hope. So I had to confess that at church yesterday because, yeah, I feel real bad about that. Real bad. Because I think these are all skin tones. I don't think I'm going to find a green up here. But, yeah. I hate that my faith wavered, and I hate that my faith is wavering today. But it is. I mean, I'm human, and sometimes it's hard to see with human eyes what's going on. I think I'll just leave it yellow. But I have faith that He's got a plan for me. I mean, it's like I told my mother-in-law. I prayed for this. You know, I have in my journal. I have my journal sitting right here. This is my little journal. And I wrote on Monday, the desire of my heart is to be Germ's housewife. I want to focus all my energy on him. I want to do laundry and plan meals. I want to fuss around the house. I just want to be his and his only. I don't want to give any of my energy to the company that I was employed at. I'm so over them. It was like my first release and I screwed up big time, and of course blank is over the moon with my mistake. I just want to belong to my husband. I want him to take care of me. And I know he wants that as well. God, please, I'm suffering. So that was my last entry before I got fired. Then my next one, 2 days later, is Robico fired me. God heard me. God heard that I was suffering. So I'm not going to suffer in this waiting because He has me here. He has me here. So I'm just going to try to be easy, even with my human eyes. So let's sign this and let this be done. What says you? Thanks for hanging out with me. I really do appreciate it. Maybe I'll be around more. Oh, I got chalk on it. I really do like this little book. I don't know who did the art for, who is this? The Green Bar, but I thought they had, the Clever Factory. I don't know who did the art for the Clever Factory, but man, some of these styles I just love. I just love their dragons. They're just so pretty. I love the look of this. I don't even think I showed this one earlier, but I'd started this one with some, that is the skin tone crayons. So yeah, don't much care for the the giraffes, but I mean these little aliens and stuff, they're just so cute. That's so cute. So I just really love some of the artwork that's in this. So I'm having a blast. I really love that. That was really fun. I think it's really cute. So, anyways, I'm just going to do my little art. I'm going to do anything that I can find my hands to do. I'm going to try to clean up the house some and focus on that and being a good little housewife. I've got a motor to put into a dishwasher, so I may end up doing that today, but I covet your prayers if you're people of faith, and otherwise have a wonderful day and get out there and have fun with some art. All right. Bye, guys.